Hello everyone, welcome to Toxic Google. I'm Kevin Vlk, and today you guys know the two from the hit show on Comedy Central, Key and Peele, and they have their new film coming out on April 29th, Keanu. So let's welcome Keegan-Michael Key and Jordan Peele.
Hi guys, how you doing?
That's good. All right.
Happy faces, this is cool.
So
Good working environment. Not nary a suit to be found. I love it. Yeah,
So welcome. So tell me about Keanu. Tell us about the film.
Okay, so Keanu is a film, a script, a film from a script. This is very rudimentary the way I'm going to be going through this process.
You write characters using words.
There's words. The English language is on the. Okay, so a Key and Peele writer named Alex Rubens and myself wrote this a few years ago with the idea that at some point someone would come asking for a Key and Peele movie. So we wrote the most fun movie we could think of, and it is this movie that we were originally inspired by like Three Amigos and Raising Arizona and True Romance.
Thelma and Louise.
Thelma and Louise, movies that had this heart that takes us through it, and putting our characters, Keegan and my characters, in this fish out of water scenario, this world of high stakes crime. But we wanted to give them a reason that would ground this journey and make it feel real. So we put a kitten with a do-rag on as the centerpiece of the movie, and eventually somebody caught on that this would be a good idea, and it was New Line Cinemas, and Warner Brothers made the film for us.
Was the idea always to involve a cat? A lot of people obviously have seen the trailer of it. It's absolutely ridiculous. And did it always involve a cat? Was it like, let's make a comedy action movie, or what was kind of the genesis of that idea?
It was actually the second one. Okay. We wrote a draft of the script that didn't have the kitten in it. And then we realized, you know what? I know we are the two biggest box office draws of all time, but
we do amazing business in Europe and Israel.
Yeah. Say this goes to somewhere like Thailand, where maybe the people don't know us as well. Put the cat on the poster, boom, boom. Signed, sealed, delivered. Yeah. We didn't expect that the kitten poster would be here as well. We thought maybe we would.
Maybe we'd be on the poster. Maybe here in the States.
Not the case.
Yeah, but I mean, you can't really lose with a kitten named Keanu. I mean, you know, just walking down the street in Nairobi, it was like, oh, Keanu. You know what I mean? So it's like,
it's the kitten movie.
I got to go see this movie. Yes.
There's black people in it too.
And Keegan, I read that you actually didn't know about that he was actually working on the film. So.
I didn't. I was at work one day, and we were just at work, and he came up and said, "I've been working on this thing with Alex," and you know, he's such a prolific writer. I was like, oh, that's good for you. And he's like, no, it's kind of pretty much a movie. It's a Key and Peele movie for us. And I was like, oh. He's like, I was going to do a table read on Friday, and I was like, do you want me to be there? And he's like, yes, yeah, Keegan, I wrote a character for you. It's a Key and Peele movie. And I think that first draft that we read, the draft I read, we read at that table read, didn't have the kitten in it. Right?
That sounds right.
That was the first, yeah, that very first draft, yeah. And it made it more, having the kitten also, it kills about 6 birds with one. It's like a neutron bomb. It kills about 6 birds with one stone, which is a pretty weak neutron bomb. But that's just stones. That's just really just a big rock.
6 stones, really.
Not a lot of technology involved at all. So the kitten also serves to go. I mean, pets are so close to our hearts, and pets are members of our families. So it helps justify a lot of things in the movie. These two guys, what propels them, the trigger that gets them into this fish out of water situation, is that we got to save the life of this innocent animal. You know.
And you had talked about working with Alex Rubens and Peter Intencio, and you guys have both worked with them pretty much all the way through with Key and Peele. So were they really the only choice? Like, you're directing it and you're writing it. Was that?
You know, the writing of it started more as a passion project. Let's see if we can make our favorite Key and Peele movie.
It was a spec script, right? I
it
mean,
was a spec script.
We weren't commissioned. Yeah. They weren't commissioned to write it. Yeah.
It wasn't very official. It was like, hey, we're kind of in this position where we can sell an actual movie at some point. So that was that. When they decided they were going to make the movie, Peter was absolutely our first choice. We've developed a real rapport with him, and he knows when to push us further and he knows how to rope us back in. And he's also a master of genre. I mean, obviously, if you look at our sketch show, he's covered. He's done a short film in every genre of film imaginable. And this, in a way, this is a genre film in that we wanted to point to some of those movies we were talking about, that kind of early to mid 90s action comedy with substance and heart, where the bullets hurt, where the bullets are real, as Keegan says. Yeah.
Yeah, you have a lot of references like Boondock Saints and Heat, and I mean,
and to like things like Boondock Saints and Reservoir Dogs, but then also more commercial stuff like Speed and the movies that harken to an even earlier time, like Beverly Hills Cop. It's the same thing. Like the violence has to be real, and you're still laughing hysterically. And nowadays, what we just call that is being grounded. So it's just like keep it as grounded as possible. I mean, it's the most ridiculous thing you've ever heard of. So let's try to keep it as real. Have the acting be as real, have the violence be as real as it can be.
You guys have talked about where the name Keanu has come from, and there's an obvious reference to it. I mean, we know who it's about. I mean, we know what the name came from, right? It's Keanu Reeves. But was there anything else? Was there ever a different name for the film or for the cat?
There was a point where we talked about early on. We talked about the title New Jack Kitty. One guy groaned back there, and that's
all we need.
That's the reason.
We just need one black guy to groan.
For validating.
That was never going to be the name of the movie.
But no, as soon as we came up with that the kitten's name was Keanu, it was clear, Keanu. We love the idea of giving the audience a taste and having their imagination go, what the fuck? What's this Keanu business? And hopefully that people there would be this word of mouth and this discussion that would help people answer the question. What's this Keanu movie? That's the Key and Peele movie. Who's Key and Peele? Oh, well, you don't know Key and Peele? Well, shit. Look, this is fucking Substitute Teacher. So the word of mouth would kind of help be a discussion. Just like, our sketches, one of the great things about getting to work on our show, it's this time where our sketch, we make the perfect size comedy for the era that we're making content for, where people can literally share our bits with each other. And so the fan base of Key and Peele is really is a familial fan base. We always hear, my brother turned me on to your show, and then I gave it to my dad, and my dad's now a fan. And there's always this line of love that kind of comes with our fanship. So it's really awesome.
Can you talk about kind of your beginnings of starting all the way back from Mad TV and Key and Peele? What made this work? Like, what made you guys say, "Yeah, you're my writing partner"? We get each other. What was that? What clicked?
Well, a lot of it we met in Chicago in 2003. And a mutual friend of ours who was a member of the writing staff at Key and Peele, she said, you guys have to meet each other. You guys were raised in similar situations, come from similar backgrounds, see comedy in a very similar way. And she made sure that we met. And just serendipitously, Jordan was working at a theater in Amsterdam, an English-speaking improv comedy theater in Amsterdam, like you do. And they came to the States to visit us, and so he was performing at the Second City when I was performing, and that's how we met. But so really what it comes down to is that our training is the same. Our training comes from the same place. So we were speaking a similar language before we even met. So then we met, and you add those two elements together, having similar backgrounds, similar point of views on the world. It means something to be biracial in the world, because you become this kind of racial referee, and you're looking at the world sometimes very subjectively, but sometimes very objectively. And that is what fed the partnership, is having the same nomenclature about how we do process or how we do comedy, the process of how we do comedy, and then also having a similar worldview.
So what influences did you guys have growing up and seeing, establishing your brand of humor and sense of comedy? And
a lot of it is we're both big fans of In Living Color, and that's been a touchstone for us, that television show, which in a way changed our lives comedically, and the people that was doing the comedy was amazing to see, faces that looked like our faces. But in the midst of that, another ingredient in the stew is I grew up in Detroit, very close to Canada. So I used to watch lots and lots and lots of British comedy. And Jordan's very, very well versed and enjoys British comedy. So that's in our comedy too. But then also there are other influences. It's, we would be disingenuous to say that we're not standing on the shoulders of Dave Chappelle, because to watch him, it's like, there it is. That's what we're going for. Something in that solar system right there. But on top of it, Jordan's, what I've always loved is that you're a big fan of Martin. And I'd love it if you just explain why you like Martin Lawrence so much. I love why he likes Martin Lawrence. I like Martin Lawrence.
This isn't to say you don't like him.
Say I don't like him.
I was right at that perfect age for Def Comedy Jam and for Martin to come out. What I loved about him, the character that he played, Martin Payne, on his show was so flawed. And I love playing flawed characters. I love this idea. It was kind of a new idea. I grew up with Eddie Murphy, of course, and Eddie Murphy is he is the guy who can get away with anything.
Yeah, Eddie Murphy is Bugs Bunny.
He's the Bugs Bunny
He always
archetype.
bounces back. He never loses,
and he's always on top of the game. And Martin Lawrence was Daffy Duck, who was always my favorite, because that's the guy who, has been put through it.
Pronoun trouble.
And the guy who brings about his own demise and humiliation. And so I love the way that Martin, as an African American, played that comedic archetype. And it was this high status, low status thing. He would get what he deserved. And he did it the whole time. You love the character, even though he's flawed. And Martin.
And then in the same realm, people like Richard Pryor. Richard Pryor had no qualms about being the one who lost, or no qualms about telling stories about his life. Most people who were raised in a whorehouse are probably not going to make that be the front and center thing they're going to talk about in their comedy or their life, or ever mention to anybody ever. Yet it was a big part of his of what he did on stage, and what he did in his life, and what his work ethic was and his worldview was. But Richard Pryor, to me, the perfect comedic monster, the perfect comedic machine, is a cross between the actor Peter Sellers and Richard Pryor. If you mix them together, that would be it. But I mean, all the British stuff too, Fawlty Towers and Monty Python and Mitchell and Webb.
Right. So once you get the set, for Keanu, was there a lot of room for? Obviously, there's a lot of room for improv. How did scenes shape? Did you do multiple takes of the same thing with different things, trying different things, and I have this idea for this?
Yeah, that's where the experience we developed on our we had, and the style we developed on our show came in handy, and that shorthand with Peter, because that's exactly how we would do it. We would do any scene 3, 4, 5 times. Once we have it, in a sort of standard pass on it, then we go crazy for 3. And then we do one called a 5K, which means we're just going for it, and it's
just do a fun run.
It's a fun run. One for us. Can we have one for us, Peter? And you go,
I don't know, guys.
Yeah.
Is it going to be 12 minutes long?
Yes, it will, my friend. Yes, it will. And but
can't afford any 12-minute takes, guys. I don't know why. Our director
turned into Marge Simpson
Marge.
on it. Check. All right, yeah, here we are.
Check.
Checkity check. 1 2 1 2. But the thing that we found on our show is that whenever we're on the cusp of laughing or breaking ourselves, those moments leading up to that are gold, and the audience doesn't even necessarily know they went on
not consciously
to break, but you can just tell when we're having fun, when we're setting each other a little off balance. So we try and get into that world.
What was the hardest thing to shoot for you guys, or the hardest scene to get right?
A lot of action. I mean, it was very hot. We were in New Orleans in the summer. Whole thing was very hot. The scene he's talking about where we're in these chairs.
That might have been the toughest scene.
For some reason, yeah. I mean, we were there for, I'm sure it was like a 12, 13-hour day. And just literally the exhaustion of being tied up and playing exhausted, playing hurt and drained.
And screaming. And just screaming and screaming and screaming. Yeah, every take. And Peter sometimes got a little bit more. You know what I mean? You know.
So, yeah, that was it.
I gotcha. We're going to start taking audience questions if you guys want to start lining up at the mic. What you guys spent so many years on Key and Peele, and it was awesome. So what did you guys learn most from that show that you were able, because you did obviously mostly like sketch comedy, so it's taking those little bits and now you're expanding into a full feature film. So what did you learn from there that you're able to use in your feature-length film?
I was just going to say that, any given scene in the movie has to have a beginning, a middle, and end. And we had been doing all of these small, tiny movies, but that's what you can glean from the shorter form. The short form allows you to go, well, every scene should have a purpose. Clearly, there has to be a thread through the film, and every scene has to have a purpose serving the one story. But then it also, I think, naturally makes you make every scene have a beginning, middle, and end, so that the scenes are just going to go at the end, and you move on to the next scene, and you lose momentum. And I'd like to think that we've manufactured a film where the momentum keeps building and building and building and building until it gets to its proper climax.
Gotcha. And is there anything kind of in TV or film or Broadway or whatever that you guys haven't done that you guys want to do? Like, what's next for you guys? What do you guys?
We're all sorts of different things. I mean, I just directed a movie. I directed a horror film called Get Out that I'm very excited about. I'm editing it right now, and I love writing, directing. So I'll take it.
Oh no, it didn't come.
It didn't come.
It didn't come.
That's gonna hurt later.
That's gonna catch you. That's gonna jump on your back at 3 a.m.
That is gonna be
He's
really
gonna be mid snore,
sloppy fart.
Smash!
That's gonna be.
That's gonna be.
That's how the human biology works.
When you have a sneeze and it doesn't come, later it's a fart.
Yeah.
And so if it doesn't come out immediately, it becomes a butt fart.
That's how it happens.
I mean, a butt sneeze, a butt fart. That's
redundant.
That's redundant. I had it all teed up in my head. Butt sneeze.
Nose fart.
I'm gonna slay at Google. Butt fart. More of this. More of what I'm doing right now. More of these is what I want to do in my future. No, I'm going to be doing a lot of theater, a lot more theater in the future, and a lot of classical theater. That's my training. My entire career has pretty much been a 19-year detour from Chekhov, which is what my plan was to do for the rest of my life. So a lot more theater, and a lot of the projects that are coming my way now that I'm working around and picking are dramatic projects. It's lots of drama. So yeah,
awesome.
Hi there. Thanks for coming. This is fantastic.
Thanks for wearing those bitchin' shorts. Is what I have to say about it.
Trying to be as bro-ish as I possibly can. So yeah, I think I'm
Well
succeeding.
done.
And also, thank you for liking David and Mitchell.
Liking what?
David Mitchell and Robert Webb. No one ever likes that.
Love Mitchell and Webb.
Yeah,
love
absolutely
Mitchell
love
and Webb. Yeah.
I was wondering, is there something that you like or dislike about like TV versus movie and vice versa?
Both as actors, there's a lot of waiting around in both, which is sounds like a dream job in a way, but there's strange stress involved because you're putting yourself out there on the line. And you're doing it with in this collaborative process. And if things go great, you get to celebrate it. If they don't, you're the face of the disaster. So that's present in both things. I think the big difference, obviously, with a film than our show is it's like we're in there for 2 months. And then we're out, and it's done. And it was this isolated thing. So I think we both prefer the film pace at this point. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean the advantage that television. I agree with him, but the advantage some will tell you from an actor's point of view that television has is that you can explore a singular character for longer if you're doing a long form narrative. it would be a wonderful thing. It was a wonderful thing for Bryan Cranston to be able to be Walter White for all of that time, and for him and Vince and the rest of the creative team on that show to let Walter grow in different ways and show different facets of his being. Because when you have a 57-hour movie, you're just going to have more chance to show different facets of a human than you can in a movie, which is why I think movies are harder to write too. So that's my pro for television over cinema. But you're right. In regard to pace and work, you just kind of give it your all, and it comes across as if it's a shortened sports season. So you give 110%, and then you're done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm a big fan. But
Are you now?
I am.
I would have never guessed that.
Really? I know. I've been waiting for a long time. I was wondering, can you talk about the casting process for Keanu?
Yeah, we did it old school. We had auditions and
And a lot of catnip.
a lot of catnip. As far as the actual cats, there were 3 types of cats, and we knew we were in for the whole litter when we picked them. We went with the smoky gray
Smoky gray over the tuxedo.
family.
We were going for a domestic short black-haired tuxedo, but we didn't pick him.
As far as
Ironically.
as far as the actors go, I mean, Method Man came in and auditioned for this movie. Like, I mean, you can imagine, like, you're like, like a couple of years ago, you write this movie, like, I don't know, maybe we'll get to do this someday. And then Method Man comes in and goes, put down the script. Let's improvise. Let's do it. And he came in, and we literally jumped up, and we improvised.
We
with
did,
Method
really?
Man, and he's holding it down, and he's grounded. He knows all his lines enough to jump off and follow us if we're doing different things. And he already had the role as far as I was concerned.
Right. We never had the heart to. Well, we were terrified.
Yeah,
to tell him that he did not need to audition.
he did not say
Making
came all the way out here from New York. Like, well,
Flight was horrible.
we really want to see what you bring to the table, Mr. Man.
Do you
Want to know what kind of
call
choices you
Method Man?
make?
Do you call him Method Man?
We call him
Or does he
Cliff.
you?
We call him
We
Cliff.
call him
No,
Cliff.
did you call him?
Did we
No,
call him?
we didn't.
Oh.
We didn't.
Oh, so
we didn't.
He wanted to audition for it.
He
Yeah.
came in, and the moment we heard that he wanted to audition, it was like bing bing, and he's here. Oh, really? Okay. So that was super cool. And then the gang in this movie: Tiffany Haddish, Jason Mitchell, Daryl Britt Gibson,
Jamar Neighbors.
and Jamar Neighbors. They all auditioned. And each one of them brought this ground, this feeling of reality. They're kind of like a Bad News Bears of gangs. It's like it's the Blips, it's the guys kicked out of the Bloods and the Crips. And so they're kind of extreme characters, but at the same time, they ground the thing and make it believable when we're talking to these. These street-hardened criminals, make the situation believable. So they were just, I mean, it's just such a talented ensemble.
We have Will Forte too, who's just.
And
Oh,
then
yeah, Will Forte is
And he
amazing.
was kind of, I think as soon as we started looking for people, we went, oh, Forte is Hulka. He is this character. So that was a no-brainer.
He was the easiest. He was definitely.
And then Neil Long wanted to come and play. So that was also a dream come true. Just very, very surreal getting to put together this movie out of like people you've admired.
Yeah, like just a mosaic of people that you admire. Just opening up a box of chocolates, like, oh, that will have this one. Yes, yeah, it was great.
Awesome.
So you guys have touched on this a lot about how building on other ideas is the basis of escalation, like the movie and also in the show. So as a new improviser, it's really easy to trash talk an idea. So I'm wondering how you build on an idea without saying, oh, this idea is wrong, my idea is better.
The first thing to do is just always know that the rules that have been established for about 70 years. When you go, or even 80 years, if you go back to Neva Boyd. Neva Boyd was Viola Spolin's hero. And then you have Paul Sills and all the Second City people. And then here we have the committee that was here in San Francisco. So you have to worship the rules above your ego. And now there's a bunch of different techniques a human being can use to block ego. can't really go into right now, but that's the most important thing. The most important thing is remember, really, really brilliant people have been doing this and going about it this way for such a long time. I mean, it's like my big thing has always been like, I don't like that idea, but then I go, if it was good enough for Mike Nichols and Alan Arkin, then I guess it's good enough for me. You know, so it's because you never know what's through that door if you don't open it. So if your scene partner shows you the door, it's not only your job to open it, it's your job to open it with verve. And so that's the thing. The thing is, every mistake's a gift in improvisation. Every mistake's a gift. Every challenge is an opportunity. So if you think of it that way, then know that you're doing the art. I hate to make it sound scientific, but you're doing the art correctly. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So don't worry about your idea might find its way into their idea if you just keep yes and. For those of you who don't know what improvisation is, I've been speaking Mandarin for the last 2 minutes, but these are life skills. That's very
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hi guys.
Hey.
Question about Keanu. When you pet Keanu, did he prefer to be pet with a grain or against the grain?
Come on, brother. You ain't never met a cat, brother? Come on, man.
Brother, any cat, man. Any cat. You got to go with the grain.
Like we got the one cat in the world talking about, fuck my fur up. Do it. Tuss it up. Give me a little zhuzh. No. Yeah, we had a bunch of kittens. They're all with grain. They're all with grain.
Thank you.
Great question.
Hi, thanks for coming. I'm a huge fan since your days on Mad TV. My question is about the movie title, and when you guys were in the creation process, did Keanu Reeves know that you guys were making it, and did you guys talk to him? Did he have a certain reaction?
Every day.
No, yeah. We just spoke to him right before he walked in here. No, we, as far as we know, he's known about it for about a month, maybe a month and a half.
Since the trailer.
Since the trailer. When the Red Band trailer came out, his sister saw the trailer, and then she sent him a link of the trailer. And then Keanu was like, that's fantastic. And then I read an article, I don't know if you said an article this morning. I read an article this morning that they said that somebody interviewed Keanu about the movie, and he said, those guys are wacky. And he just, and I can never even imagine him uttering the word wacky. My man said wacky, and said it several times.
Wacky.
This is the third time a man said wacky in this article.
Like the packages? That kind of wacky?
I mean, what kind of wacky is he? Those guys are wacky. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Compliment. It's the ultimate compliment.
That was wacky.
Hey, so love the anger translator sketches. I was just wondering, for the White House press correspondence dinner, did you get the chance to practice with Obama for a very long time?
Yeah. Well, I think in his world, 10 minutes is a long time. So yes, I did. I mean, you know what I mean? Given everything he has to do in a day. So I was in the West Wing and was waiting in a room in the West Wing called the Map Room, which was FDR's room. And I was staring at this framed map on the wall that FDR had made that about where the Allied troops were going to land and all this kind of. It was really amazing. And then on the wall, just racks and racks and racks of maps from the 30s back, ad infinitum. And then he just walks in, and he's a very tactile guy. And so he's just, you're just kind of there, and he's just on you, just like, well, here he is, let's go.
Hey, let's go, Mr. President.
Yeah. And then you're just like, I didn't hug him. He did it. No red dots, please. He ran up in here. He just ran up on me in here. And then we rehearsed, and we rehearsed for about 10 minutes, and then they left. And the first thing he said to me was that, okay, we're going to go through this now, and you have to really, got to keep it together. You got to keep it together. was like, yes, sir, absolutely. So he says his first line, which is, so I thought that I would, if you remember, his first line was something like, and he's reading off his script, and he goes, I thought I'd bring out my anger translator, Luther. And then my first line is, hold on to your lily white butts. We're 2 lines into the rehearsal, and he goes, oh, right. I got to keep it together. I said, yeah, motherfucker, you got to keep it together. Your career is locked in. This could be the biggest day of my life. Don't fuck it up, It was great. No, he was great. What an amazing straight man. And he was terrific because at the end, he just was like the last thing he said to me before we finished the rehearsal was he just kept on asking about Jordan, which I thought was so sweet. And he was just like, yeah. What? He said, how's Peele feel about it? And I was like, so he was great. And he just kept on asking about him. So it was terrific. He's really, you can't have a better fan. Can't have a better fan. And not about who he is in the world so much as a person that you are doing homage to them and they know about it. And then this character gets to become, I don't know that this has ever happened in the history of television, that I don't even know how to articulate it correctly, that a fictional character with a person doing an impersonation becomes a real tool in the real world. It's mind-boggling. Because he used Luther. He literally used Luther. Because he's like, they can't fire me, fuck it. You know what I mean? So, it's like, it was amazing. It was really quite amazing, yeah.
Cool, thank you.
So we can do these quick.
Hey, when you guys are writing, do you find that you cycle through hundreds of ideas until you go, that's the one, that's what we're going with? Or is it you have some that you're not sure about, but you try it out and then eventually work it into something that's really good?
We definitely overwrite. We come up with a lot of premises. We write a lot of drafts, and so that at the end of the day, when you get to that point where you're like, oh man, we can only afford one more sketch in this episode. Woo! That was a nose fart, people.
You're welcome.
That was a nose fart. Thank you. Whew.
Hey, you did it towards me.
Sorry about that. But yes, to answer your question, we write a ton, and then we only pick the cream of the crop.
I foster kittens, and I've learnt 2 things. One, they grow up extremely quickly, and 2, they have no sense for ever doing what you want. Like, were there moments where you regretted the choice of having a cat in the movie?
Yes.
Absolutely.
2 sets, and we had 2 sets of kittens. Yeah. We one day literally reached into the thing and we're like, growth spurt, done. We're using Teddy. You know what I mean? It was like, yeah.
Eventually, you have to figure out to tell the kitten to do something you don't want it to do, and then and only then will you get the shot you're actually looking for. But yeah, very very tricky, and you don't think about that. You think it's just a prop. It's another actor you have to be mindful of.
How you doing, gentlemen?
Hey, how's it going?
Hello.
What's happening? Key, you mentioned you're about to do theater now or start moving towards that. Are there any artists that we need to look for that you're mentoring, or any proteges out there that we need to be on the lookout for? Anyone that's come to you that said, hey, look out for this guy. He's going to be the...
Hint, hint. I see what you did there.
No.
Yeah.
Well, for anyone that knows, it's Big Kev. You know that.
There's this brother that I saw at the Google. And he wasn't afraid to ask for what he wanted. You know what I mean? We doffed a nice cap, had on a T-shirt with a colloquialism on it. And now, it's something that I know Jordan and I have both been approached with our reps about is curating or help curating and mentoring other artists. And so I'm kind of in the process of doing that now, but we've been so busy, I've not had the time to dedicate to looking at people's work. And there is a group of guys that I like a lot that are on Comedy Central. They're on ComedyCentral.com, and they have a web series right now called 6 Guys, 1 Car. And it's amazing because they're African-American sketch guys, but they're not trained at the Upright Citizens Brigade. They're not trained at Second City. They're not trained at Improv Olympic, but they have an aesthetic that's close to our training, and I'm really fascinated by them. And so I may or may not work with them in the future. I'm trying to figure out where I fit or how I can benefit them, and that is something that I really do want to do more in the future. It's near and dear to my heart, and it is to Jordan too. It's been a big thing for us to want to mentor young African Americans who want to get into improvisation.
Thank you.
Right, last question. Oh, dang it! Okay.
Get him up there! Come on. Woo!
Easy crowd. This is good.
Democracy!
That's a very positive group.
I have my own opinion on this, but which of you makes the better looking woman?
Oh, it's Jordan 100%.
Well, now, it's...
Look at these luscious lips.
It's debatable. It's debatable. I mean, we have different assets. Mine is here. Keegan's figure is...
No, but I lack curves. I don't have childbearing hips.
We could debate this all day, but you're beautiful.
Your opinion. Megan, seriously.
No. Not seriously.
No, I am saying seriously.
Shut your mouth. I don't want to talk to you right now.
How are you going to get home, Megan?
I'm going to walk.
You're going to walk 37 miles?
Yeah. One foot in front of the other. How are you going to get home?
I'm going to drive in this fucking automobile.
More power to you.
You were complaining about your shoes all night. No, yes, you were.
No, I wasn't.
You were. Now we're wasting the Google people's time.
Look what you did.
We're going to screw this guy out of his question.
We're going to get a question. All right.
But, sweetheart, you agree with me, right? Right? It's him.
Well, hey,
It is him.
He's right that it's debatable.
It's debatable.
It's debatable.
That was your opinion? Is that it was debatable?
You did start with, I have an opinion.
I know my definite opinion about this.
I will
it could be either one.
I will unveil it at the end of this question.
I was hoping for Megan.
Thank you.
All right, sorry, brother. We're up here, a lot of shenanigans up here at your expense.
Now I feel weird because I was going to ask a serious question, and
all right.
So you guys talk a lot about race. It feels like that's what a big part of what your comedy is about. That's what I really like about it. Do you bring that to Keanu, or are you trying to say, let's focus more on just making a movie that's like what you said before, just funny, like this kind of style of... This is a bad question.
No, it's good. It's not a bad question. It's not a bad question because I will say this, and this is something I think I haven't said in a while, but I do believe it has validity. If you have melanin in your skin, the movie's about race. Because we just don't live in a world that evolved yet. You know what I mean? Because I'm going to do it. Because because we still have a limbic system, we're still categorizing. Because remember when we had to categorize? That's a saber-toothed tiger. That's a poisonous plant. This is wheat. And so the limbic system worked. Like it was effective. And now we use it for the wrong reasons. We go, that's different than me. Must be bad. And so until we find a way to short circuit that fight or flight lizard brain part of us, I think if you are a person of color, it just is about race, whether you want. Now, in this film, I do think we're deliberately sending up stereotypes, social and cultural stereotypes, 100% with consciousness.
Absolutely. I mean, the satirical element of this movie is that we haven't seen guys like us as leads of a film, and so part of that is asking the question about the stereotypes of black men, of Hispanic men, and women in movies up until now, and what happens when we place ourselves in one of these heightened genres.
Yeah, we're definitely lampooning the concept of machismo in the movie,
yes.
And what place it has in African American culture and in just a culture of being a male? And are you black if you don't display a lot of machismo? Are you black? How black are you if you do, that's all being explored.
So yeah.
Fantastic question.
Thank you.
Well done. Don't sell yourself short.
So thank you guys so much for being here. Keanu comes out April 29th, so go see it. Thanks,
April
guys, so much.
29th. Thank you guys, please. What a great time.